It's all lies, be aware she's not my queen. They call her queen, they crown her proud, but I know the truth beneath the shroud. Her throne is stolen, heart untrue, not every smile belongs to you. Don't be fooled by painted grace, there's poison hidden in her face. She walks in silk, speaks soft and sweet, but thorns grow under dancing feet. You see her photos, scroll and sigh, but don't you wonder why I cry? They frame her with a golden glow, but I've seen things you'll never know. It's all lies, this show she plays, a different mask for every phase. She's not the queen of truth or grace, she just knows how to take your place. She said she loved, she swore, she lied. With every touch, my heart she pried. 100 whispers in my ear, each one hiding a deeper fear. She wore my trust like borrowed clothes, tossed them away when secrets froze. She danced on glass I laid with care, then left me bleeding unaware. I raised her high, a queen, I thought, but love like that is never bought. She craved the eyes, the crowd, the cheer, not the soul that drew her near. She wore her charm like royalty, but ruled through guilt and loyalty. She never bowed, she never served, she only took what she deserved. Her beauty struck like thunder's sound, but never rooted to the ground. Her laugh could warm, her tears could bend, but none of it was meant to mend. She craved the stage, she played the part, but love was absent from her heart. It's all performance, nothing real, and still, she feeds on what I feel. I held her hand through darkest skies, while she rehearsed her next disguise. I called her mine, I said, my queen, blind to what lived in between. She smiled at me, but dreamt of more, of open fans and distant shores. She loved the image more than us, a throne built out of empty trust. You saw her wrapped in velvet red, but not the words she left unsaid. You praise her name, you toast her reign, but I alone endured the pain. She's not the girl that she pretends. She builds beginnings, never ends. She kisses deep, then pulls away. She writes forever in the clay. You think she's magic, heaven sent, but every word is ornament. She knows just how to play the game, how to step back and dodge the blame. She weaves a tale with every glance, and traps your heart inside her dance. But when you fall and ask her why, she'll vanish like a summer lie. She isn't royal, though she reigns in shallow hearts and glossy chains. She isn't deep, she isn't pure, her kingdom's built on the insecure. She rules through likes and praise and pride, but leaves the faithful men denied. She claims a crown she never earned, and leaves behind the ones who burned. It's not revenge, it's not regret, it's just a warning you forget. Be careful who you call a queen. Not every rose is evergreen. Not every hand that reaches near deserves to wipe away your tear. Not every smile is made of grace. Some hide demons in their face. I gave her gold, I gave her time. I sang her love in every rhyme. I built a world where she could be more than what the world could see. But she wanted more of fame, not me. A captive heart without the key. She loved attention more than truth. She bled me dry in silent youth. And now you stand and call her rare, while I'm the ghost of love laid bare. She isn't yours, she isn't real. She is just a storm you'll think can heal. But mark these words like carved in stone. She'll leave you colder than alone. You'll chase the wind she left behind, and curse the spell that robbed your mind. She thrives in echoes, lives in views, but shuns the soul she could not use. A digital queen with velvet lies, Her court is built on alibis. She posted smiles. She staged the light, while we broke down through every night. She praised the sky but loved the fall. She said it all without a call. She isn't holy, isn't kind. She's just a story sold to blind. I thought I knew her foolish me. But love's not blind. It's make believe. She spoke of dreams she'd never chase. She held me once and left no trace. A queen is more than just a look. She never read the heart she took. Now let her shine in stolen gold. A crown of fire, a heart grown cold. Let people write her name in stars. I've counted every hidden scar. I don't deny she's dressed in light, but shadows cling to her at night. She claims the throne, but not the pain. She loves the storm, not the rain. You ask why I speak this way. Because I lived through her decay. Because I gave, and she betrayed. Because I watched our future fade. She's not my queen, not anymore. I locked that heart. I closed that door. She had her chance. She made her bed and crowned herself inside your head. So be aware, don't trust too fast, or you'll end up a fading past. Don't fall for lips that only kiss, to feed a void, not give you bliss. Don't trust a throne that shakes with greed. Don't give your soul to one in need of love, but not of loving you. That's how I died. That's what is true. I learned too late. I stayed too long. I tried to fix what felt so wrong. But queens don't make you feel alone. They build with you a sacred home. They don't compete. They don't compare. They guard your heart like it's rare. They don't just love the world outside. They lift you up. They stand with pride. So call her what you think she is, but know the truth behind the kiss. She isn't mine. She never was. She changed her love for fleeting applause. Her crown is hollow, soul unseen. It's all lies. Be aware she's not my queen. No white horse, no shimmering cape. Just arms wide open, no route of escape. This love is not neat, not trimmed by fate. It's messy, it's fierce, it's heartbreakingly great. You don't know the nights I fought off sleep, just to whisper your name, while I silently weep. You don't know the days I buried my pain, to kiss your forehead and shield you from rain. Baby, I'm not acting or faking a role. This is the work of a burning soul. This is bruised hands building our place. This is tired eyes still chasing your face. No magic exists in the tale we weave. Only choices and chances and nights you leave. Only moments I stood while you fell apart, offering silence where you'd shattered heart. You think I don't feel, but I feel it too deep. Your laughter is joy, and your silence makes me weep. You think I don't break, but I break in style, with a smile for you and pain hidden a mile. There's no curtain call or standing ovation, no enchanted forests or divine salvation. But baby, I'm doing this brick by brick, through storms, through wounds that never stick. I've given you more than fairy dust dreams. I've rewritten fate with my aching screams. I chose you not once, but again and again, even when choosing you meant drowning in pain. I saw the world offer me gold and pride, but I still came back, stood by your side. I could have chosen peace, a life without strain, but I chose the chaos, the love, the pain. I'm not perfect, nor made of stone, but I'm here, always, even when alone. You don't see the tears, but they're carved in my smile. I walk through your absence, mile after mile. This is not a fairy tale, not roses and song. This is staying when everything feels wrong. This is choosing you with no guarantee, and loving you, even when you're not loving me. I've kissed your scars while hiding my own. Saturday beside you, though I felt alone. Held your anger and swallowed my pride. prayed for your peace while dying inside. They say real love shouldn't cost so much. But how can it be real without the touch of suffering, sacrifice, and truth laid bare? Of standing in fire because you care? You don't need to see it, don't need to believe. I'll keep giving even if you leave. Because my love isn't borrowed or fake. It's a promise I made, I refuse to break. No crowns, no gowns, no magical end. Just one broken man who refuses to bend. Who walks through the fire and bears the burn. So you have a home every time you return. I don't ask for thanks or medals or fame. Just a whisper that you remember my name. Just a glance that says you mattered too. Even if your love never fully grew. This is not a fairy tale. This is raw and true. This is me, screaming. I'm doing this for you. Not for applause, not for stories told, but because you're my fire when the world turns cold. I've battled demons you'll never meet, so your heart could dance with lighter feet. I folded my life into your space and lit up your world with my darkened grace. So, don't look for magic or wands in my hand. Just know I'm the one who will always stand. Not because I must, but because I choose to win your love even if I lose. Baby, this is not fiction, not fate or muse. This is blood on the paper and pain I use to remind you daily, in silence or cry, that I loved you harder than reasons why. So if you walk away or forget me in time, just know these words were your secret rhyme, carved into silence, etched into night. I gave you my soul when you gave up the fight. This is not a fairy tale, no wish, no spell, but baby, I swear, I loved you too well, not in chapters, not in lines they rehearse, but in every heartbeat, in every verse. The rain had come again, soft at first. It tapped against the window like a memory trying to be let in. She sat quietly at the edge of the bed, staring at the light gray sky. There were no clocks ticking in the room, no radio playing in the kitchen, no sounds of footsteps, just silence, thick enough to hold the weight of grief. The room still carried the scent of him, faint, almost gone now. His favorite sweater, draped over the back of the chair, was untouched. The way he left it, every morning she meant to fold it away, but something always stopped her. Not the fear of forgetting him, but the fear of admitting he wouldn't return to wear it. The tea had gone cold. She hadn't noticed when she poured it. She did that often, going through the motions of life, without stepping fully into any moment. It was easier that way, safer. If she let her heart remember too vividly, the pain would rise again like a tide. She had learned to live quietly, even in her own mind. Outside, the trees swayed gently. The world moved on. Jonah asked if she wanted to see the apartment. She said yes. They didn't kiss. They didn't make love. They didn't pretend nothing had happened. But she stepped inside, and the coat was still there. The bookshelf was untouched. The plant was gone. They stood in the kitchen. "Your mug?" she asked. He nodded. Couldn't look at it. "I took it with me," she whispered. He closed his eyes. "Thank you." Silence again. Then laughter. Quiet. Shy. "I missed you," he said. "I missed me too," she said. "And you. But me first." And it wasn't cruel. It was honest. They talked into the night. No promises. No apologies. Just words. Just truth. When she left, she kissed his cheek. Not as a lover, but as someone who had loved and still did. Weeks passed again. Letters now exchanged weekly. Some hand-delivered, some left under doors. They spoke of art, grief, the way time warps when you're healing. Then, one evening, Lila wrote, "You used to be loud in your silence. Now, your silence feels like listening. Maybe love doesn't always shout. Maybe it weeps. Maybe it whispers. Maybe the loudest love is the one that lets you leave and welcomes you if you return. They did return to each other, slowly. Not because it was easy, not because time healed everything, but because love, when true, doesn't vanish. It shifts, it bends, it breaks, sometimes, but it waits silent, patient, full of the loudest tears. They sat again one morning in the kitchen, tea in their mugs, her hand in his. No music, no talking, just silence. And in it everything. He read it once, twice, then again. The words didn't change, but the meaning seemed to shift with every reading, as though her voice wavered behind them. Not angry, not resentful, just tired. Heart tired. They had been together for 5 years. Not all of them were beautiful, but most of them were honest. They had built a life not with grandeur, but with the small comforts of routine. Coffee made just right, matching socks on rainy days, Sunday market trips and midnight pancakes when neither could sleep. They had even painted the bathroom together, arguing over colors until they settled on a shade of soft ocean blue. And now, it meant nothing. Nuat meant everything, and that was the problem. Jonah dropped to the floor, with the note still in his hand. The silence around him was crushing. It echoed. How could silence be so loud? He felt it press against his chest, seep into his lungs, climb up his throat like smoke. His hands trembled. He didn't cry, not at first. It wasn't until he opened the cupboard to find her favorite mug, missing white ceramic with tiny hand-painted tulips, that his chest cracked open and the tears fell, sudden and uncontrollable. They were not loud sobs, no moans or heaves, just tears, heavy and slow, falling like the rain that began pattering against the kitchen window. They fell quietly, but they were loud with love. Lila hadn't disappeared. She had moved 2 hours away, back to her hometown by the sea, where the wind spoke in gusts and the gulls cried endlessly. She didn't tell anyone what had happened. When her sister asked, she simply said, "I needed air." She wasn't running from Jonah. She was running from the version of herself she had become with him, silent, anxious, always trying not to break something fragile between them. The tension had become part of the decor. In the corners of their smiles, beneath the soft clinks of their dinner plates. She missed him the moment she left, but staying had started to feel like forgetting herself. Jonah didn't chase her. He didn't send messages or leave voicemails. For the first time in his life, he respected silence as a language. He didn't know how to respond to the note, because it hadn't asked him to. He wandered through their apartment like a man mourning someone who hadn't died. Her coat still hung by the door. Her books still lined the shelf. Her plant, the one he always overwatered, began to wilt. Weeks passed. He would wake and reach for her without thinking. He stopped cooking. He stopped singing in the shower. He stopped smiling at strangers on the street. He moved through the world like a radio left on in an empty room. But grief, in its strange way, was teaching him something. It taught him how much he had relied on Lila to translate love. She had been the one to say it first, the one to hug, to laugh, to reach. And somewhere along the way, Jonah had stopped speaking that language, believing she'd always interpret his silence kindly. Now silence was all he had, and it deafened him. Leela, meanwhile, began to write again. She hadn't picked up a pen in months, maybe years, but in the quiet of her mother's attic, she rediscovered her notebooks. She started small, sketches, a haiku, a letter she never sent. Dear Jonah, I hope you still hum when you cook. I hope you don't fill my side of the bed with books. I hope you water my plant. I hope you're angry. I hope you're healing. I hope you know I still love you. L. She folded it and put it in a drawer, Writing helped her breathe. For the first time in ages, she wasn't performing love. She was listening to it. 3 months later, they met again. By accident, or fate, or whatever invisible thread pulls people back to unfinished conversations. It was a bookstore, the one they always visited on holidays, with the crooked stairs and the shopkeeper who wore suspenders like a relic. Jonah was thumbing through poetry. Lila was in the back room browsing cookbooks. She saw him first, his posture still slouched, his curls longer. There were dark circles under his eyes. She froze. He hadn't seen her. She almost turned around, almost ducked out. But then he looked up. Their eyes met. Silence. Then a nod. Then a half-smile trembling. Unsure, but real. They didn't rush toward each other. They walked slowly, like survivors crossing a battlefield. No embrace. No tears. Just two people standing in front of each other, 3 feet of space holding every word they hadn't said. "Hi," she said. "Hi," he answered. And that was all. They left together, walked to the nearby cafe, ordered tea, talked about the weather. The awkwardness was unbearable, and yet neither moved to end it. "I thought about writing," she said finally. "I thought about showing up," he said. They smiled. The conversation was cautious, but it grew. They talked for an hour, then 2, then walked along the river. When the sun dipped behind the hills, that night, something shifted. Anya didn't want to live her whole life hiding, so she took a step. Small, shaky, but real. She texted her best friend. "Can we talk? Not about you, about me. I'm not okay." The reply came instantly. "Of course. I'm here. Always." That conversation was the first time Anya cried in front of someone and wasn't judged. Her friend didn't offer solutions. She listened, held her hand, and in that simple act, a wall began to crumble. In the weeks that followed, Anya began therapy. She started writing poetry not just in secret journals, but on social media, anonymously at first. Messages flooded in. "I feel this too. Thank you for putting this into words. I thought I was the only one." She realized how many others wore the same mask. The world was full of silent pain. She made new friends. Not many, but deep ones. People who saw her, not just her smile. People who didn't flinch when she was sad. She learned to say no, to set boundaries, to ask for hugs when she needed them. Her healing wasn't linear. There were relapses, bad days, empty moments. But now she had tools, a support system, and most importantly, self-awareness. She stopped measuring her worth by how well she could hide her sadness. Instead, she started embracing it. She began speaking at mental health events, sharing her story, telling people, it's okay to not be okay. Her message was simple but powerful. Check on the strong ones. Check on the smiling ones. Because they hurt too. Years later, Anya published a book, a memoir titled The Girl Behind the Smile. In interviews, she talked about her journey from silence to strength, from hiding to healing, from pain to purpose. People still complimented her smile, but now she replied with gratitude, not guilt, because her smile was no longer a mask. It was real, and it coexisted with tears, not instead of them. Her story resonated because it was universal. In a world that praises strength but shames vulnerability, her truth gave others permission to speak theirs. And in doing so, she turned her silent pain into a collective healing. So if you're reading this and feel unseen, unheard, or alone, know that your pain matters, you matter. And even the loudest smiles can carry the heaviest silence. But you don't have to carry it alone. Her smile was loud, but now, so is her voice, and that has made all the difference.